Welcome back, listeners, to Red Hunt, where relationships are explored and unraveled one story at a time. Am I the antagonist for telling the landlord about my roommate's husband and getting him to leave immediately the next day? I am a 24-year-old female and used to live in a very small 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment with 2 roommates, Kayla, 32-year-old female, and Mina, 33-year-old female. Mina is married to Drew, in his 30s, who lives and works in another state. Mina moved because of her studies. Earlier last year, we all moved in together. During the first 3 months of our stay, Drew would randomly show up to the apartment without any notice, stay for about a week, and then leave. While he was there, he would take over our shared living space, be very noisy, and have poor hygiene. Both Kayla and I felt uncomfortable with Drew coming and going as he pleased. We told Mina that she needed to give us prior notice if Drew wanted to come over in the future, and that he should be more respectful while staying. Mina initially got defensive, but eventually agreed and said that Drew would come over for 1 month around the end of the year. Kayla and I thought it would be fine as long as he respected our boundaries. However, it turned out that Drew was still rude, noisy, and continued to take over the common areas. I didn't want to go back on my promise, so I hoped he would leave after the 1-month mark. When the month ended, Drew showed no signs of leaving. I asked Mina about it, and she said that his boss allowed him to work remotely, so he was going to stay for another 2 weeks. At this point, I realized he was never going to leave and that polite communication wasn't going to work. I immediately contacted my landlord and informed him about the situation, Mina having someone stay for an extended period without permission. Our lease requires explicit written consent from the landlord for anyone staying over 14 days, and they must pay additional rent. The landlord then contacted Mina and told her that her husband needed to leave immediately. I told Mina and her husband that I expected him to leave early the next morning. Mina exploded and accused me of backstabbing her by going behind her back to tell the landlord. She said that if I had a problem with her husband, I shouldn't have agreed to let him come over in the first place. She also said that she wouldn't be polite or civil towards me anymore because, in her opinion, I didn't deserve it. Her aggressive and hostile behavior made me feel unsafe in the apartment, so I reached out to my landlord, and he agreed to terminate my lease early, allowing me to move out. Some of my friends believe that I did the right thing by asking them to leave immediately. They think that Kayla and I were already very generous by letting Drew stay for a month without paying rent or utilities. Others think that I should have given them more time to find somewhere else to move, instead of pressuring them to leave so suddenly early in the morning. Mina might also get into trouble with the landlord for violating the lease. So, am I the asshole? You clearly communicated your boundaries and expectations to Mina, and she and Drew repeatedly disrespected them. It was within your right to involve the landlord, especially since they were violating the terms of the lease. Leaving for your own safety was the right decision. Am I the antagonist for calling my dad a child? I, an 18-year-old female, currently reside with my parents, a 73-year-old male and a 57-year-old female. We share a property consisting of 2 houses, with me living in the smaller one adjacent to their larger house. Initially, the smaller house served as storage after we relocated to the bigger house. However, we have recently started cleaning and renovating it. I primarily undertook the work, with occasional assistance from my father, primarily involving clearing out his hoarded items. I managed to clean out one of the rooms and moved into the smaller house, although I still make use of the larger house's kitchen and bathroom. After a few months, we completed the renovation of the bathroom in the smaller house due to its impracticality. Now, the issue arises. I am an individual who values cleanliness and strives to maintain an organized living space. Every Sunday, I dedicate time to thoroughly clean my bedroom and bathroom, ensuring lasting organization throughout the week. Unfortunately, the larger house has been experiencing plumbing problems, rendering the toilets ineffective. Consequently, my parents have resorted to using the bathroom in the smaller house, which I understand. However, my concern lies in the fact that I have requested both of them to close the toilet lid when they flush to prevent the spread of bacteria. Regrettably, I have noticed the toilet lid being left up on multiple occasions. Additionally, my father has disturbed my sleep by waking me up at 6 in the morning to unlock my door so he can use the bathroom. Today, while conversing with my father, I brought up the issue of the unclosed lid. I stated that I would lock the door and deny them access if they continued this behavior. Unfortunately, my father became angry and threatened to break down the door, claiming to possess the necessary tools to do so. He declared that I would no longer have a door and that I would have to accept it. In response, I referred to his actions as childish and likened him to a baby. All I simply requested was for them to close the toilet lid. Subsequently, my father approached me, as he often does, and yelled directly in my face. He stands at 6 feet while I am only 5'1". This has occurred numerous times, and I have grown accustomed to it. While he continued his outburst, I remained calm and advised him to observe his overreaction and unnecessary display of emotions. This only further angered him. Consequently, I picked up my phone, informing him that I would record our interaction. Initially, he mocked me by stating that he would refrain from acting angry for my recording. He then questioned how I would feel if he were to smash my phone. I encouraged him to do so and began recording at this point. Once he noticed, he immediately ceased his behavior, walked away, and proceeded to turn off the lights and close the door to prevent me from following him. Approximately an hour and a half has passed since the incident, and he is now acting as though nothing happened, his first question to me being about the whereabouts of the vacuum cleaner. Upon reflection, I believe I may have acted poorly by referring to him as a child and threatening to lock the door. However, I have grown exhausted from his tyrannical behavior and his constant use of me as an emotional punching bag. They display no desire to tidy up their living environment, live in the manner of hoarders, and possess a limited understanding of what constitutes a healthy parent-child relationship. I fervently wish I did not have to depend on them financially or reside with these individuals. Unfortunately, moving out is not currently feasible due to my location and cultural constraints. Your father's behavior was completely out of line, and it's understandable that you would get frustrated with him. It's important for everyone to respect each other's boundaries, especially when it comes to personal spaces like the bathroom. Hang in there and hopefully things will improve soon. Am I the antagonist for agreeing to be a bridesmaid at the wedding to my sister's high school nemesis? I, 28-year-old female, do not have the best relationship with my sister Tammy, 30-year-old female, and I wanted to say that it started with our grandfather, who often praised Tammy as being the prettiest granddaughter and spoiling her. This made her think that she was better than me and our two girl cousins, and while there were attempts to stop his behavior, he passed away. But the damage was already done, and Tammy felt as if she deserved more. Better just because she was a natural beauty. I won't lie, Tammy was gorgeous and even did a little modeling in the summer. All the guys talked about how pretty she was in high school and would often do things for her. However, there was this one guy in particular that she liked the most, and he ended up getting her pregnant. The school we went to was private and had strict policies in regards to physical displays of affection, and when word got out that Tammy was pregnant, she was forced to leave. Tammy and I were both there on a partial scholarship, and according to its terms, we both had to maintain a respectable reputation, and being an unwed teen mom was far from it. The school took back Tammy's scholarship and my parents couldn't afford the fees. I got to stay, however, teen gossip can be vicious, and I left voluntarily because I couldn't take it anymore. I was so mad at Tammy for how her bad decisions affected me, I couldn't give a crap that the guy who knocked her up denied paternity, got his friends to lie about her, and took a girl she hated to the dance. That girl was Chloe, 31-year-old female, and I didn't know exactly why Tammy didn't like her, but I had my theories. Chloe dumped Tammy's baby daddy after it was revealed that he got another girl pregnant over the summer, and I never heard or saw Chloe again until college. I didn't realize it, but she and I enrolled in the same university and met again at a tutoring session. Chloe was very kind and welcoming, and while I was initially hesitant, she became like the big sister I always wanted and helped me get scholarships. Parents spent the money on Tammy's baby, gave great advice on which classes to enroll in, and helped me get a great internship that set me up with a good job post-graduation. I never told Tammy about my relationship with Chloe, but when she saw a picture of me in the bridal group with her on social media, Tammy flipped out. She called me a bad sister and asked me how could I be friends with someone who hurt her so bad. I asked her when has she ever been a good sister to me, and that what she and Chloe went through in high school wasn't that bad. Tammy shot back that I did know that it was that bad, otherwise I wouldn't have hidden it. I said I hid it because I knew she'd be a major witch about it all and didn't want to deal with the hassle. Tammy and my parents want me to drop out of being a bridesmaid, but I don't want to because I truly consider Chloe a friend and want to be there for her. Am I the asshole here? It's understandable that you don't want to drop out of being a bridesmaid for a friend who has been there for you. Tammy's behavior towards you in the past has shown that she hasn't been a good sister, so you have every right to prioritize your own friendships and happiness. Am I the antagonist for not wanting to put up my sister-in-law who invited herself in our new home and in our bed? My significant other and I are currently in the process of moving, and coincidentally, his 30th birthday will fall a month after we officially move in. To celebrate, his father, mother, sister, and significant other, along with my father and mother, have decided to gather at our new place from Saturday to Monday. By that time, our home will have a proper bed and a smaller sofa bed. Since we can only accommodate 4 people for sleeping, we needed to find accommodations for the remaining 4 individuals. His parents booked a place for 4, and my parents booked a place for 2, both on the same day. Before making the bookings, my so had spoken with his sister and mentioned that, depending on how things panned out, she and her so could stay with us for both nights, and we would let them use our bed. However, he later realized that this was a mistake. Upon finding out that their parents had accommodations for 4 people, my so suggested to his sister that it would be better if she and her so stayed with them. This decision was based on the fact that our living room does not have shutters, causing a lot of light to come in, and the sofa bed is smaller than our bed. In response, his sister offered to bring us night masks. Around 6 p.m., my so received a message from his sister asking if they could arrive on Thursday evening and leave late Tuesday afternoon. She also asked if my so could pick them up and drop them off at the station. My so and I both work during the day, with him being in the office and me working from home. However, we only have 1 car, so my so could pick them up but not bring them back. Since it was not feasible for us, we did not discuss it further. Instead, Maiso immediately called his parents to inquire about the comfort of the 4 beds, without sofa beds or cots, which they confirmed. They also mentioned that his sister had already purchased her tickets without waiting for his response. Although Maiso was annoyed, he did not want to create conflict. He asked his sister to sleep with their parents for the 2 initially planned nights, Saturday and Sunday. However, he realized that she still intended to sleep in our bed for the remaining 3 nights. He contacted their parents, and his father acknowledged that it may not have been the best plan, but he understood that his sister made the decision due to ticket prices. Furthermore, his father repeatedly questioned whether Maiso had misinterpreted the message about night masks, suggesting it may have been meant humorously. Lastly, his father stated that if the atmosphere was going to be tense, it would be better to cancel the gathering altogether, and he was prepared to leave if the weekend went poorly. Eventually, Maiso sent a message to his sister, expressing his dissatisfaction with the situation. This is not the first time she has behaved this way, and I am deeply upset by how his family treats him. I am tempted to refuse her accommodation, even if it means she loses money spent on the ticket. I believe it would help her understand that entitlement is not justified. However, I realize that this could harm Maiso's relationship with his family. Am I the antagonist for not wanting to host her and let her sleep in our bed? It's understandable that you don't want to accommodate someone who consistently acts entitled and disregards your boundaries. Your frustration with the way Yurso's family treats him is valid, and it's important to prioritize your own well-being and comfort in this situation. I got pregnant by my friend and he wants me to move to his country to raise the baby together. First, some background to help make the situation make sense. I met Eric in the summer of 2018 when I moved to California in a split-second decision after my divorce. My relationship with my ex was a dumpster fire, but we mainly split because I was infertile and his mother was a meddling racist. I don't harbor any hard feelings against him, but I was seriously hurt by him and took years to heal. I had an instant connection with Eric because he is Italian, and I grew up in Europe, and my grandmother is Italian, so I spoke the language a little. It also turned out we had a mutual friend through my third cousin, met him on Ancestry, who lived in Italy about 30 minutes from where Eric grew up. Eric runs his family business, so I wouldn't see him for months at a time because California wasn't his home, and he would only be there on business, but it was lovely whenever we got the chance to see each other. We spent a lot of the COVID lockdowns video calling, because he chose to remain in Italy with his parents. I think that I bothered him a lot then because the situation in Italy was quite bad, and I was constantly calling him because I was so worried about him. But that's when our friendship went from just having the same friends to us becoming very close. Our friendship really developed in the last few months I stayed in California before returning home to New England in 2021. He came to visit the week before I left and helped me get the last of my belongings sent off to my new apartment. Since then, he has visited me in New England 3 times, and on his last visit 5 months ago, we slept together. That was the first time I had done anything with anyone since my ex-husband. Not to get too much information, but my reproductive system is a serious mess from scarring from miscarriages and endometriosis. I barely get periods and I have serious hormonal issues, so I'm on birth control to help combat that. I was on track to getting some surgery sorted by the summer for it. I had, and still have weirdly enough, no symptoms and found out I was pregnant during an emergency room visit around Christmas, got drunk and fell down the stairs and hit my head. It was a serious shock to my system. Thankfully, the baby is fine and everything looks good so far, but I'm probably going to have a C-section. I told him, and he flew over to spend 2 weeks with me while I was getting my appointments lined up and informing my workplace, etc. Now, on to the issue at hand. Our relationship got a little flirty around the time I moved back home, and he began visiting me. He would call me things like sweetheart and love, and we did sleep together the last time he visited, but we've never talked about it. All he said was that he wanted to talk about our relationship when he next visited. When he did come in January, we agreed to finally start dating. In total, I've probably only seen him in real life about 30 times due to lockdown and the nature of his work. This is also my second relationship ever since my first was my ex-husband, and I stayed off men for a while after him. I am due in early June, and he has said that he wants me to move to Italy with him so we can raise the baby together. He spends most of his time there, so it would make sense. I would miss my friends and the family I still have if I left, but I've wanted to raise my own family for as long as I can remember, and I thought I would never be able to. I can speak Italian relatively well and could pick up the rest easily, but I'm still pretty nervous. I need to make up my mind about this pretty soon because I would need to renew my German passport that I haven't touched since I was 15, so it probably will be a long process to make moving to Italy easier. The move would mean becoming a stay-at-home mother-girlfriend in a foreign country. It seems like the right thing to do because I spent my teens in the US while my father remained in Germany, and it was not a fun way to be raised. He can't move to the US because of his work, and he cares for his elderly parents. I have no reason really to be apprehensive about how he would treat me because he's been nothing but kind since I met him, and especially now he is an absolute star. My friends think I should do it, but I'd like some more advice. What do you guys think I should be considering in this situation? It sounds like you have a unique opportunity ahead of you, but you should take some time to honestly assess what you want for your future. Consider the potential challenges of moving to a foreign country and the impact it could have on your support system and personal life. Trust your instincts and make a decision that feels right for you and your baby. Am I the antagonist for refusing to make up with my sister? My family has never been close. My father was an alcoholic, and my older brother has mental health issues. He was very abusive to me and my younger sister. The main point is that our childhood was terrible, but we formed a strong bond as survivors. Moving forward to the present, I have a decent career. My spouse and I earn a good income, although nothing extravagant. My sister attended medical school and became a doctor. She also married a doctor. Together they make about $800K per year. This situation created a strange power dynamic between us. She would invite us on expensive vacations and cover the cost of a suite, while we took the second bedroom. I would occasionally pay for meals and drinks, but we were spending hundreds of dollars while they spent thousands. She invited us to Cabo in early 2022. The plan was to meet at the airport and travel together to the resort. However, their flight was delayed by 2 hours, as my brother-in-law texted. I informed him that we would probably proceed to the resort and meet them there. Upon our arrival in Cabo, the airport was crowded with people coughing, so we hurriedly left. At the resort, I checked in and the person assisting us informed me that they had changed our room. Since I was unaware of the reservation details, I simply accepted it. When my sister arrived, she became extremely angry. Evidently, they had reserved a room near the main pool to minimize walking distance. Given the vast size of the resort, our room was approximately a 10-minute walk from the main pool area. She accused me of altering the room, but I kept reiterating that it was the resort's decision, not mine. She began cursing at me in front of my 5-year-old son. I asked her to stop speaking that way in front of him, but she persisted. My anger got the best of me, and I started yelling back. The argument escalated, with her accusing me of taking advantage of her by joining her on vacations. I informed her that if that's how she truly felt, I would change our flight and return home. After calming down, I attempted to make amends the following morning. I asked her to talk, but she continuously brushed me off. Meanwhile, they spoke with the resort and managed to change the room. They also removed us from the reservation. Consequently, they forced my wife, son, and me to leave the resort in the middle of a pandemic, leaving us with no place to stay in Mexico. We eventually found a somewhat dubious hotel for $400 per night for 10 nights. It was roughly the same amount it would have cost us to fly back home, so we decided to stay. Despite the circumstances, we made the best of the situation. However, she completely ruined our vacation, endangered my family, and unexpectedly burdened us with an additional expense of $4,000. Since then, I have not been in contact with her. My parents have been urging me to reconcile. They act as if I'm the one being unreasonable. I told them that she has my phone number if she wants to call and apologize, but she should also seek therapy. I don't intend that as an insult. I believe she has unresolved anger issues from our difficult upbringing. So, am I in the wrong for refusing to reach out to her? Your sister's overreaction and mistreatment of you and your family during the vacation, combined with putting your health at risk, justified your decision to cut off contact. It's important to prioritize the safety and well-being of yourself and your loved ones. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.